DreAllDay.com.
Think better than this is tomorrow's episode. You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves anyone out there to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one masterclass, and one show. This is the one you listen to right now. It is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Congratulate yourself on being here because today's topic is how you can, will, and should stop taking things so personally. That's the topic. Stop taking everything so personal. I touched on this topic in masterclass number 1378. If you don't remember that one, the title was Racism is Legal and Other Truths That You Should Accept About Life. The gist of that episode being, the gist of that masterclass being, I suggest you listen to it so you can get the context, but the gist of it is that the things that people decide to say or think or believe or live out in their lives is their choice. And as long as they're not violating your human rights or your civil rights, or they're not breaking a law, it is completely their right to feel how they feel and do what they do. And if you're taking it personal that people feel a way that's different from the way that you feel, then all you're really doing is wasting your energy. Even though you may call yourself speaking out or drawing attention to it, whatever you think that's going to achieve, it's not much. You're wasting your energy on that. And energy is one of the most valuable resources that you have in life. You're wasting it on something that's not going to produce a result. Then all you're really doing is costing yourself an opportunity that you could be using to do something for yourself or for your family or for your future generations. Today's topic is about the fact that so many people are so immature as to believe that everything that other people are doing or thinking or saying, or what you think they're doing, thinking, or saying, must somehow in some way be about you. But most of the time, it is not. Most of the things that you do and say and think are not about other people, even when you're doing or saying or thinking something that is about another person, directed towards another person, is really not about that person, because all of us as individuals, we're all in our own individual worlds, our own myopic world. My argument today is to try and help snap you out of this selfish, narcissistic mindset of thinking that everything that other people do is somehow about you. And just possibly consider that everyone else is just like you in one way, and that they are just as self-focused as you are, just as focused on you over to the exclusion of everyone else and over everyone else just as much as you are, which means you need to stop being so bothered by the opinions and even the actions of other people that may and probably will differ from yours. Because everyone is entitled to their own opinions. Everyone's entitled to their own actions. Again, as long as it's within the constraints of the law and constraints of civil rights, everyone's entitled to doing and thinking whatever they want. No matter how egregious, no matter how dumb you think it is, no matter how stupid you think they are, no matter how wrong you believe another person to be, it is still within their rights to feel how they feel and do what they do. That's what today's topic is about. So let's get into it. Today's topic of today's masterclass again is stop taking things so personal. Point number one: when people talk shit about you, that means, when I say talk shit, that means they say something negative about you, something negative towards you. They just say something that you really do not agree with, and you really, if you had a chance, you would stop them from having said that thing in the first place. But they did it because you can't control what other people say, right? When people talk shit about you, remember that it's not really about you. All they're doing is balancing their minds out for their own personal sanity. And I'll explain exactly what I mean by that. So when someone's saying something negative about you, you haven't done anything to them. You might not even know who they are. You may not even be aware of their very existence on this planet, but they're talking negatively about you. Why are they doing that? All they're doing is balancing the books of their own thought process. Now, I talked about this in my book, Work on Your Game. So if you have not read that book, go to workonyourgamebook.com, where you can not only get a hardcover copy of the book, but also some bonuses that you cannot get if you access that book through any other channel. But in Work on Your Game, I talked about the fact that in life, when you're better than another person, in their eyes. They see that you're doing better. Maybe you have more followers, you made more money, you've gone further in your career, whatever it is. Another person who sees that and they want to be where you're at, they have a couple of choices. One option is they could do the actual work that will be required in order for them to catch up to where you are. Meaning they can work on their game more. They can go and take all the steps that you took. They can go get the education and knowledge and make the investments that you made to get to the level that you're at. They can go do those things so they can catch up to you, but that is going to take some time. It's going to take some effort. And we all know that hard work is hard work for a reason, because it's hard. All right, hard work. The reason why so many people don't do hard work is because it's hard work, and just hard working alone does not always guarantee success. But without hard work, you probably will not get to success. And I talked about hard work not being an achievement in masterclass number 1112. The title being hard work is not an achievement. I also told you in masterclass 728, the hard work alone is not going to beat talent, even though many people probably have told you that. Masterclass 618, your hard work may not be hard enough. Sometimes you might have to work a little bit harder than you've been working. And in Masterclass 1139, that it takes more than hard work to be successful in life. However, despite the fact that I've said these things that you may consider to be negations of hard work, that's not me saying that hard work does not matter. Hard work does matter. It's just not the whole. That's not the whole equation. People think that if they just work hard, everything's going to work out. That's not at all the way that it works. But hard work is part of the equation. It's kind of like if you want to make a cake, just having an oven alone is not going to make a beautiful cake pop out of your oven. A pineapple upside down cake or a beautiful pound cake pop out of your oven. But if you don't have an oven, you probably will not be able to produce a cake at all. So that's the same way that hard work works. So what I want you to understand is this: in life, when you're better than another person, they can do the work to catch up, but hard work is hard. But hard work is hard work for a reason. It takes time, and many people are not interested in investing time. A lot of people are not interested in investing energy. So what is easier than just doing the hard work to catch up to you when you're doing a whole lot better than another person? The easier thing for most people, or we'll just say some people, is to bring you down mentally. Not actually bringing your mindset down, but in their mind, they feel like they're bringing you down by creating a story in their own minds about you that makes them feel better about themselves. And that story does not necessarily have to be true. So for example, if you are an athlete or a business owner and your career or your business is doing a lot better than a competitor's, instead of doing the work for them to get better and be as good as you at the sport, or for their business to be doing as well as yours, which takes time and effort, they don't want to do that. They instead say, well, the only reason you're being successful in your sport is because you made a couple of lucky shots in the last game, or because your parents they have some kind of connection to the coach, or this is the only reason you got a scholarship, or you don't deserve the job that you have. That way, in their mind, they're saying, okay, even though you're doing better than me, now I've created a story that makes it okay that you're doing better than me. They have mentally decided to bring you down, again, in their thought process, just so they can sleep at night, just so they can maintain their sanity. Or if your business is doing a lot better than them, they can say, oh, that's because you have somebody who invested in your company and allowed you to spend more money on your advertising, or that's because your products are cheap, or that's because you're just going through it, you're just enjoying a lucky wave right now, but it's not always going to be like that, or some other excuse / reason / story they've created in their mind that makes it okay. There's some rationalization that they've created that makes it okay for you to be in a position that you are in relative to where they're at, simply because they don't want to put the time, effort, and energy in to get to the level that you're at. The same time, effort, and energy that you put in to even get there in the first place, hopefully. I'm presuming that you actually put some work in to get to the spot that you're in. So they create that story just to maintain their own sanity, because most people are not interested in putting the real resources into creating success. This is why so many people don't reach success, not because they're not aware of what's required, it's just because they don't want to put in what is required. If no one's talking bad about you in life, it's probably because you're not doing anything in life. When you're doing something and you're making things happen, you're going to catch some heat. I talked about this just recently in Masterclass 1381, handling the heat of becoming a somebody in life. When you become a somebody and you start making things happen, or rather, a better way of saying it, if you want to know that you're becoming a somebody and you're making things happen, all you got to do is look around and see, are there any people talking negatively about you? Are there any people who have crafted stories in their minds that somehow paint you as not worthy, as lucky, or as you didn't really earn your success, as a way of making themselves feel better about their own relative lack of achievement and lack of success? Now, you may not always be able to notice this because, as I'm explaining, this is something that people craft in their own minds. It might just be something somebody's thinking. They may not have gone as far as to say it. But when you get people who go as far as to say it out loud and they're publishing it and they're writing it down, they're putting it out for the world to see, then you know that you are already well on your way to becoming a somebody. So whatever you did to cause that thing to happen, keep doing it, because you're doing something that's having an effect. As they say, if you don't have the haters, you don't have the naysayers, you don't have anybody talking bad about you, it's probably because you're not doing anything worth talking about, period. And even then, when you get to that point, most of the time, the person who's talking about you isn't consciously really thinking of you. They're thinking of themselves, as I just explained. They don't really care about the fact that you have more success than them. They care about the fact that somebody, being you, has more success than them. It's not about you, it's about them. It's just the position that they occupy happens to be beneath you, and you happen to be the person, the target that they can see that represents everything that they're not. All right, so that's the only thing that they're actually using you for. It's not really about attacking you personally. They don't have anything personal against you. They have something personal with themselves, and you just happen to represent that. All right, you happen to be the outside representation of what they find they're missing in their own lives, in their own minds, in their own skill sets, and their own accomplishments. So it's not really about you. They're thinking of themselves. You just happen to be the person who actually hears and receives it. You are, as I've said before, you're the canvas on which they're painting the picture of what's missing in their own lives. I'll give you another example about this. I read and reply to comments on YouTube, on the videos that I put out. I'm not talking about comments on anybody else's content. If you see my name in the comment section of a video, it's going to be my video, or a video featuring me that maybe somebody else published. So if I go on somebody else's show and they put the video on their channel, I'll go on there and respond to comments because the comments are about me. Or if my TED Talk videos, those aren't on my channel, on the TED channel, I'll go and respond to the comments because it's about me. So if you see my name in the comments on a YouTube video, trust me, it's because something that I'm featured somehow, some way in that content. I'm not just running around YouTube commenting on random people and random things. That's not something I'm interested in. But when I read and reply to comments on YouTube, sometimes there are negative comments. Sometimes somebody just doesn't like the way that I look. They don't like something that I said. Maybe they don't like the whole subject of the video. Maybe they just completely disagree with my perspective, or they want to add something to what I said and I don't agree with them, or they don't agree with me, or whatever. But whatever negative comments I receive, those people aren't the people who leave negative comments on anything that I publish, whether that be a blog post, a podcast episode, a YouTube video. Those people aren't actually, they don't actually hate me. They don't want to knock me down. They don't want to see me personally fail. The thing is, they have thoughts that are in their minds that they just need to get off their chest. And my video happened to pique their interest to put those negative thoughts out. Now, had somebody else put out a similar piece of content saying a similar thing, that same commentator would have left that same negative comment on that person's content. They wouldn't have left it on mine. They would have left it on somebody else's. I just happened to give them a platform for them to let off of their chest, out of their heads, what was already in their mind that they wanted to say. So I don't take it personal because I know it's not really about me. And even if it is about me, this is something that I'll add here, caveat to point number one, I don't allow them to usurp any of my personal energy, because my personal energy is, first of all, belongs to me. So if I'm going to let somebody else's negativity take some of my time, focus, attention, and energy away from me focusing on myself and me putting it on that person, then I'm doing myself a disservice. Again, as you notice, again, it has nothing to do with the other person. So this is the main reason, number one reason why you should stop taking things so personally, because most of the time people are saying or doing negative stuff, they're really just acting out what's already in their head. They are not as focused on you as you are focused on you. So stop thinking that they are. Point number two. Today's topic is stop taking things so personally. Here's the second thing you need to understand that goes hand in hand with what I just talked about in point number one. Listen, people are fucked up. People are fucked up. What does that mean? Whatever you think it means. So when I say people are fucked up, that means there's some things that's going on in the heads and minds and lives of other people that you know nothing about, or maybe you know a lot about, that just causes them to be in a certain state, a certain mental state that they're not all the way there. Okay, and that's just how it is. All right, it's just how some people are, just the way some people live their lives. Maybe they wanted it to be like that. Maybe it is not completely under their control, but for some reason, some people are just fucked up. Other people have shit in their lives, unresolved issues, things that they're not even aware of themselves, going on in their heads and in their lives that have absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with themselves. Again, you just happen to be around at the moment. So you need to stop thinking and reacting as if everything that other people do is about you. Nobody spends their day thinking about you except you and maybe your grandma. All right, nobody else is thinking about you all day. All right, when someone inconveniences or otherwise bothers you, you need to pause and ask yourself this question. What might be going on with that person that they are not seeing? And I guarantee you something, 99% of the time, whatever is going on with them, it is not that they just sat around and say, you know what, today I'm going to attack Mike. Today I'm going to go after Lisa. Today I'm going to find out what Jason has going on. I'm going to try and rain on his parade. 99% of the time, probably more than that, it is not that they just decided they want to go after you because they didn't have anything else better to do. You are not as important to other people as you are to yourself. And the biggest challenge that all of us have, because we are all way more focused on us than we are others. When other people do things that are directed towards us and we feel innocent, we feel like, all right, I didn't do anything to this person. I don't even know this person. I never even heard of this individual. And even the thing that you did do, there was no malicious intent behind it. You weren't trying to hurt anybody. You weren't trying to make anybody feel bad. But a person is reacting very negatively to either your representation or something that you created or something that you're offering or just some a benign statement that you made. You're like, well, why is this person attacking me? They must be a hater. They must be negative. They must want to see me fail. They must hate women. They must hate people of color. They must hate somebody who's successful. They must be mad because I have XYZ and they don't have XYZ. Apparently, that's the reason why they're attacking me. We all usually, when someone comes at us, our first thought is, okay, what is it about me that's causing that person to want to come at me? It's something that I'm doing or representing that is causing that person to feel negative. So let me figure out how I can defend myself that way. But most of the time, it's not about you. Again, it's about that person and you just happen to be there. Okay, so stop thinking that it's about you, because sometimes the real reason why people are coming at you and being negative towards you because they're just fucked up. And if it wasn't you, it would be me or him or her or somebody else out there. You just happen to be there that day. But again, if you weren't there, you wouldn't know about it. That's why you think when everyone comes at you in a negative way, you're there 100% of the time. So you begin to believe, you condition yourself to believe that it must be about you, because every time somebody is negative towards you, you know about it. But when that same person is negative towards other people, you're not around, you don't see it, you don't witness it, you don't know anything about that. You understand? So you have 100% accuracy of thinking that it must be about you, because every time that happens, you're there. All right, but all the other times, the other 900 times that person was negative towards somebody in life, you didn't know about it. Or you only know about the one time that it was you. So you like, oh, well, it got to be me. I'm 1 for 1. But no, you're not 1 for 1. You're 1 of 1,000. You just happen to be 1 of 1 today. And sometimes people are just fucked up. Now, you just got to accept that. Point number 3. Today's topic is stop taking things so personal. I want you to remember that life is a business. Life is a business. What is business? Business is the exchange of resources between individuals. Usually we're exchanging resources because we're trying to get to a certain outcome. So someone wants to make some revenue, you create a product or a service, some type of offer, you sell it. You want money, and you'll exchange your offer in order to get the money. And there are other people out there, and those are the people we call the sellers, the creators. And there are other people out there, we call them consumers. They're the people who are looking for whatever you're offering, your product, your service, your goods, and they're willing to exchange their money in order for your offer, whatever that happens to be. And when these exchanges are happening on a consistent basis, we call this the economy. And when those exchanges stop, we end up in a recession or a depression. And when those exchanges are going great, then we have a healthy economy, just when the exchanges are taking place. And each one of us at different times, we are on both sides of that equation as the consumer or the seller of the goods and services. So that's what I mean when I say life is a business. Actually, let me go further into that definition of life being a business, is that in order for you to live, you have to make some exchanges, right? You got to make money, and you also have to spend some money. It costs money to be, when each one of you who's listening to this, when you were born, somebody had to spend some money. Whether that be the government had to spend some money in order to subsidize that hospital or whoever it was that birthed you, or whatever medicines or your shots, somebody had to spend some money. Your diapers, your baby food. You were not able to take care of yourself probably by, I would say, the earliest I've ever heard of a human being being able to just take care of themselves is completely, emancipated from any other humans. The earliest I've ever heard was maybe 14 years old. So for 14 years, somebody had to spend some money for you to be able to live, for you to eat, for you to have, food, clothing, shelter. You weren't doing it yourself. All right. And many of us, it goes maybe 10 years longer than that. You might be 24 years old before you're taking care of your own food, clothing, and shelter. So it costs money for you to even live. But then at some point, maybe sometime in between, they may overlap. you might need to go make some money. When I was 15, 16 years old, I went and started getting my first jobs. And I worked a lot of jobs before basketball became my main career, because I wanted to make some money. First of all, my parents told me you need to make some money. And then eventually, once I started doing it, I started actually wanting to do it. I started wanting to make some money. So you got to make money and you're going to have to spend money. That's what I mean when I say life is a business. It costs money to be born. It costs money to die. Any of you ever paid for a funeral or know anyone close to you who died and somebody had to come up with the money to take care of the burial expenses, to get to liquidate maybe the place you were living or all your belongings? What are you going to do with all that stuff? Something has to happen with those things. So that's how life is a business. And remember that business, now that I've just explained to you why life is a business, remember that business is not personal. Some people make business personal, and some people take things that happen in business personally. But remember, the topic of today's masterclass is for you to stop taking things so personal. Now, there is a time and place to take your business personal. If any type of business you run, if you have customers, you want to build a personal relationship with them. You want them to feel like you're more than just a salesperson selling them a product or service, because you believe that'll keep them patronizing your business and coming back and really believing in your mission and your cause. Yes, that is a time to make business personal. But I want you to understand the what's the way that I would explain this? Just the energy around the point that I'm making here today is that when a business transaction is taking place, the business transaction is taking place because both people on either side of that equation, either side of that transaction, stand to gain something. The person who is selling wants to get the money in exchange for whatever they're offering, and the person who's buying wants to get whatever that good or service is in exchange for their money. Everyone is just trying to further their own self-interest. Business is political, and understanding what politics is people doing things to further or secure their own self-interest. And that is not personal. It's just people doing things to take care of themselves. And it's the exact same thing that you do every single day. So any of you who ever had any type of negative feeling around politics, understand that politics is nothing but taking care of your own self-interest. All right, you want to make politics work in your favor. See Masterclass 131. That's the title. How to make politics work in your favor. And also Masterclass 747. Why and how to be political ASAP. Remember that life is a business. Business is not personal. We're all just politicians working to protect and or advance our own personal interests. In business, sometimes people, and when I say people, that means you too, we do things to serve ourselves that inadvertently, I mean, we're not trying to, or maliciously, sometimes when we are trying to, hurts another person's position. So you might do something that because you achieved X, it stopped another person from achieving Y, but you weren't trying to do that. And maybe sometimes for you to achieve X, you have to stop the other person from achieving Y. For example, if you're an MMA fighter, in order for you to win the championship, you got to beat up somebody and they won't win the championship. And they're going to go home bruised and battered, and you're going to go home with the championship belt and a smile on your face. You both can't win. All right, so you have to stop them from achieving in order for you to achieve. We call that a zero-sum game. But there are many games in life that are not zero-sum games. For example, running a business, making money, creating content. Everybody can do it, and everybody can quote-unquote win. It doesn't have to be just one winner and everybody else is a loser. There are different areas in life when those equations change. But understand that sometimes in life, you're going to achieve something because you're being political, trying to advance your own personal interests. You would not be at the level of success that you're at right now if you were not a politician trying to advance your personal interests, because nobody else is going to do it for you. They're not going to put you in front of themselves. And sometimes it's going to hurt another person's position. And sometimes someone does something to help themselves that hurts your position. But you got to stop taking it so personal and just play the game. When I was in college, for example, you may have heard the story before. I got a new coach who came into my college after my sophomore year, before my junior year. His personal agenda was he wanted to look good. He wanted to win basketball games. And one of his first orders of business was, I want to clean out all the players who were there from the previous regime, no matter if they're good, bad, it doesn't matter. I just want to get rid of those guys so I can put my own stamp on this program. That was his personal agenda. Now, part of his personal agenda happened to hurt my personal agenda, but I understood that it wasn't a personal thing with me. It wasn't like, oh, who's this guy, Dre Baldwin? Let me find a way to rain on Dre's parade and make his basketball life terrible by trying to run him out of this thing and destroying his basketball career. That was not part of his agenda. Even though if I was less mature, I might have looked at it that way, but I understood even then that, all right, this guy's just doing what he has to do. Now I got to do what I got to do so I can further my own interests. And in the end, he ended up doing what he needed to do for himself. I ended up doing what I needed to do for myself, and we got a great story out of it. All's well that ends well. But understand that sometimes when people hurt in your position, again, as I just explained, it's not about you. It is about them. You just happen to be around. So stop taking it personal and learn how to play the game. In boxing or MMA, for example, the other fighter might punch you in the face in the middle of a boxing match. Any of you who boxes or does any type of hand-to-hand combat as a sport, hopefully you're doing it as a sport. You're not just running around the streets. Somebody punches you in the face. You don't hate them for the rest of your life over the fact that they punched you in the face, because you understand that getting punched in the face is part of the game when you put those gloves on, right? You just, after you get punched in the face in the middle of a boxing match, you don't stop the fight and say, I hate you forever. I hope your kids die, and, try to destroy them or take them to court. What do? All you do is keep your hands up and you guard your chin so you don't get hit in the face again. And after the fight, you can shake the other fighter's hand or hug them, because you understand it is all part of the game. It's not them trying to destroy you personally. It's not them trying to ruin your life. It's them doing what they got to do to help themselves, and you just happen to be something that they got to get through in order to get to where they got to get to. It's all part of the game, ladies and gentlemen. That's why the show is called Work on Your Game, because it's all a game. All right, and sometimes the game is working in your favor. Sometimes the game is shitting on you, but you got to understand that the game is impartial. All right, you just happen to be around, and sometimes it's working for you, sometimes it's not. But if you work on your own game, you can make the game work in your favor more often than not. And that's why you do this class every single day. So let's recap today's topic, which is stop taking things so personal. Touched on this again in Masterclass 1378, Racism is Legal. My argument today is to help you snap out of this selfish, narcissistic mindset and consider that everyone else is just like you and they are very self-focused. So you need to stop being so bothered by other people's opinions and actions that differ from yours, because everyone is entitled to their own as long as it fits within the confines of the law, no matter how egregious, wrong, or stupid you think another person's opinion is. Point number one, when people talk shit about you, it is not about you. They're just balancing their minds out for their own personal sanity. As I talked about in my book, Work on Your Game, when you're better than another person, they got two options. They can either do the work to catch up, or they can craft a story in their mind and rationalize why you are not worthy of your success. And if they get to the point of even expressing this opinion, then I guarantee you become a somebody in life. You're doing something. If nobody's talking bad about you, probably because you're not doing anything significant. And even then, most of the time, the people who are talking about you are not really thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. You just happen to be the person who heard or received the negativity coming from the other person. When people leave negative comments towards me, it's not because they hate me or they want to destroy me as a person. They just have thoughts they want to get off their chest, and my video just gave them a platform to do so. That's the way that you got to look at it. Point number two, people are fucked up. Meaning other people have things in their lives, unresolved issues, things that they don't even know about in their heads and in their lives that have nothing to do with you. So stop thinking and reacting as if everybody and everything is about you, because it ain't. Nobody spends their day thinking about you the same way you don't spend your whole day thinking about anyone else. Maybe your grandma thinks about you, but other than that, nobody else is thinking about you all day. When someone inconveniences or otherwise bothers you, pause and ask yourself, what might be going on with that person that they're not saying or expressing, or maybe they don't even know consciously. I guarantee you that 99.9% of the time, it is not because a person just wants to destroy you or rain on your personal parade, because they ain't got the time to be thinking about you. You are not as important to other people as you think you are. Point number three, remember that life is a business. Business is not personal. We are all politicians working to protect and or advance our own personal interests, as I talked about in Masterclass 747, why and how to be political in life. In business, sometimes people do things to serve themselves that inadvertently or maliciously hurt your position. But stop taking it personal and just play the game, because it's not about you. They're just trying to help themselves and you're just in the way. In a boxing match, for example, the other fighter might punch you in the face, not because they hate you, but because in order for them to win the match, they got to punch you in the face. And at the end of the fight, you can shake their hand and get them a hug and not take it personal that they punched you in the face, because you understand it's part of the game. All you got to do is keep your hands up and guard your chin, because it's all part of the game. And if you work on your game, then you had a game working in your favor. You don't have to take it personal. They don't take it personal. Everybody gets what they want. Work on your game. Dre all day.